Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Oh man, the Biden administration has become indefensible. Every single major event involving this administration becomes such a massive laughingstock, frankly, such a massive show, that I keep turning on CNN and watching their panel analysis moments, and nearly every single time I'm just in total disbelief as CNN continues to absolutely decimate this guy. It's unreal. I never thought I'd say it, let alone keep saying it. CNN in a lot of ways is reporting the truth, but obviously I'm not giving them major credit because they also don't exactly have a choice. Ever since August of 2021, during the absolute failure that was the Afghanistan withdrawal, or the botched Afghanistan withdrawal, it's been the same thing over and over again where the Biden administration does something, and then of course liberals expect CNN and MSNBC to cheerlead the Biden administration and their incredible heroic action and incredible historic success, but it doesn't exactly play out that way. We saw this just recently with the Saudis. Joe Biden making a fool of himself and the nation and then getting roundly condemned in the media and even by his own Democratic Party. And now we're seeing it again with the Biden administration's most recent effort of redefining the technical definition of a recession because they don't want to accept that we're probably in a recession. This CNN panel absolutely slammed Joe Biden and his goons. Let me show you guys exactly what they said. And once again, the conclusion is the same for this video. You know Joe Biden is a massive failure when even CNN continues to admit it. Let me show you guys what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright friends, so take a look at the CNN panel titled Recession Report Card, with the chyron at the bottom reading, Recession Report Card. White House argues traditional recession indicators don't apply this time. Absolutely stupid.
Panel. Chris Cillizza, inflation affects every American directly. Yep. The Biden administration is trying to point out the definition of a recession is nuanced. But I got to tell you, I struggle with this. I get that why they want to do it from a political perspective, but like you can't fake this.
No, I was laughing to myself with the in my view thing that Caitlin highlighted, because it's like, well, in my view, I should be drafted into the NBA. Like the NBA executives didn't agree with that. Right. Like it doesn't really matter what you think. There is a technical definition, 2 straight quarters of negative economic growth. They clearly believe that is likely to come to pass later this week. They're trying to pre-bud it. To your point, we get why they're doing it politically.
Right.
At the same time, we have these terms for reasons. You don't have to like it. Of course they don't like it because the economy, Joe Biden's handling of the economy was at 25 or 30% in our most recent poll. Like, yeah, it's a problem for them. This adds to the problem. But you don't get to change the nomenclature in the middle of a campaign because it doesn't work for you.
Well, and again, your voters are going to feel what they feel in their lives, no matter what.
I mean, this right here is next level, folks. At first, we were covering CNN looking like a bunch of hostages being forced to actually report on the truth of Biden's failure, just very matter of fact and objectively trying to get through it. Now we're seeing CNN literally roast Joe Biden or the Biden administration. The whole in my view thing, well, in my view, that I should have been drafted into the NBA. It's absolutely perfect. Chris Cillizza is a leading political analyst at CNN. He's one of the top dogs there. He's extremely left-wing, extremely pro-Democrat, and even he's absolutely blasting the Biden administration on this most recent messaging blunder. And Chris Cillizza goes on to point out the obvious, that clearly the Biden administration is trying to get ahead of this thing, just like we stated the other day. Clearly they know that second quarter growth is going to come in negative. After an entire year, or I guess considering the fact that GDP is reported a little bit delayed, after a year and a half of Joe Biden telling you that his Build Back agenda has led to the greatest economic bounce back in American history, after telling you that the stock market's the strongest it's ever been, the labor market's the strongest it's ever been, after patting himself on the back and taking a massive victory lap, after trying to frame this narrative of a strong economy, they're just refusing to admit the clear truth. And they're playing the political messaging campaign, and even CNN is blasting them for it. They then went on to cite that Joe Biden's approval rating is sitting at 25% on the economy, and they say that it's probably going to get even worse now with this messaging campaign. Absolutely. And that's something this administration does not understand. They don't seem to understand that they would be doing a whole lot better when it comes to public support or public opinion if they just told the truth. You know, if things were going pretty bad, but the president was at least admitting that things weren't looking good and was trying to do something to change it, or was at least getting you prepared for the potential economic fallout that might be right around the corner, that would signal decent leadership. You know, the boat's gonna get rocky at some point. The ocean isn't totally flat and calm. At some point, you're gonna have to deal with some waves, some turmoil, a storm, and a good captain either steers you clear or gets all the deckhands in the crew prepared to actually weather the storm. But instead, what Biden is doing is the exact opposite. He's telling you, well, the storm isn't actually coming, and when it hits, people are going to be completely unaware, unprepared, and shocked. And the people that are paying attention and know that it's coming are listening to this guy and saying, man, what's wrong with you? Can't you see that a couple miles ahead, there's massive clouds and friggin' lightning, and you're steering us directly into it? So yeah, of course, his 25% approval rating on the economy is going to tank, and his general approval rating will continue to tank. Whether it's the debacle in Saudi Arabia and now this, people are paying attention. People that actually intend on voting, registered and likely voters, are paying attention to this stuff, and they're just not seeing good leadership. This is why Joe Biden's approval rating continues to tank, because he's a legitimately, objectively terrible leader. He's delusional and he's a liar. And people are fed up with it. It's not like the Democrats are saying, once again, trying to push blame elsewhere or playing their little political games, that actually Joe Biden's approval rating is dropping because of things that are out of his control entirely. And it's mostly due to unfair political attacks from the right wing on inflation and blah, blah, blah. No, it has absolutely nothing to do with that. It has to do with the response, and probably to that exact response right there, the refusal to take any responsibility for one's actions or for the outcome under your leadership. It's been like this since the start on every single issue. The southern border, transitory. Global warming, Donald Trump's fault. Inflation, transitory, temporary, Donald Trump's fault. Afghanistan, Donald Trump's fault. Gas prices, Vladimir Putin's fault. Gas companies' fault. There's a whole lot more examples, but you pretty much get the gist of it. And now, economy heading into a recession, definitely not Joe Biden's fault, of course not. Probably Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump's fault, maybe some Russian conspiracy. But also at the same time, no, we're not actually technically in a recession. No, of course not. The definition must be changed. Because if CNN won't play defense for Joe, then the dictionary should, I guess, or something like that. You know, people tend to overcomplicate things, especially these people with fancy titles, fancy degrees, and fancy White House positions. But at the end of the day, I like to boil down things into a very simple framework. When the mainstream media is reporting something like this,
American consumers are in a funk. Tell us more.
Yeah, John, no doubt about it. The mood on Main Street continues to darken. Consumer confidence declining for the third month in a row in July, falling to levels unseen since President Biden's first full month in office. Remember, that was at a time when vaccines were not even widely available.
Consumer confidence at the lowest levels in decades. And when the most recent CNBC poll shows 58% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, as Americans are suffering financially in this incredibly weak economy, as the top dog, the leader of the free world, you probably shouldn't be taking victory laps, claiming the economy is in the strongest shape it's been historically. And as the American people face a recession, I mean, it seems certain at this point, you probably shouldn't be in recession denial and be changing the definition. I mean, this is just very simple stuff. If people are worried about something, you should probably address it. If the worry was unjustified or it was exaggerated, it's one thing. If it's grounded in reality and how people are actually feeling, and we're talking about like 80% of people polled when it comes to consumer confidence and confidence in the economy is trending negative, and with nearly 60% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck, there's probably some merit to what they're saying, and it should probably be addressed at least a little bit, with a little bit of humility and a little bit of honesty. But of course, they called Donald Trump the narcissist. But considering their lack of humility and lack of care, you see exactly who the true narcissists are. It seems to be always the ones that are going on about their incredible virtue and just how good they are and how much they care for people that end up being the most out of touch, heartless Democrat elitists. You know, it's a trope for a reason. It's a stereotype for a reason, because it's pretty much true. That's what I got for you guys, though. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, please make sure to leave a like on the video. I'm gonna get back to work. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.